Today, a murder suspect took the stand in his own defense in a San Francisco courtroom in the Bob Lee murder case. The tech executive was stabbed in April of last year by Main and Harrison Streets in the neighborhood known as the East Cut. Lee was the founder of Cash App. The man charged with killing him is Nima Momeni. ABC 7 News reporter Melanie Woodrow was in court as Momeni took the stand. Melanie.
Jurors and audience members were hanging on Nima Momeni's every word. One of the only sounds in court today outside of his testimony was the sound of reporters furiously typing, trying to take down everything that he said. Nima Momeni testified that it was Bob Lee who attacked him with a knife, he said, over a bad joke that he had made. Nima said that he told Bob if it were his last night in town, he'd be hanging out with his family, not expletive around in strip clubs. He says Bob Lee went from 0 to 100 after hearing that, pulled a knife from his pocket and attacked him. He described and demonstrated redirecting the knife back at Bob and says at some point Bob just walked away, unresponsive to Nima asking him, hey, what was that? What just happened? He said he had no idea that Bob Lee was fatally injured. Nima said he walked over and picked up the knife, which was now on the ground, and threw it over the Caltrans fence. But he couldn't explain why he did that in his testimony. He also expressed remorse to Bob Lee's family, saying that even though Bob Lee had attacked him, he didn't deserve that. On cross-examination, the prosecutor hammered Nima Momeni about the idea that Bob Lee, a beloved man in the tech world, wanted to kill him over a bad joke. He asked Nima about the coincidences in his story, that he just happened to leave his car at his mom's house after the murder, as well as his jacket that he was wearing the night of the murder. The prosecutor also asked question after question about Hazar's text to her brother the day of Bob's murder, calling him psychotic, a lunatic, threatening to call police on him. His answer was that she's erratic and emotional. That's just the way she is. That's the way they bicker with one another. I asked Bob Lee's brother, Oliver, about Nima's testimony.
Nima obviously did a lot to damage his own credibility today, and just seeing him get angry and stuff on the stand, I was feeling, that's what my brother saw that night, right? It's him getting angry and him, his story makes no sense to me, and I don't think it makes any sense to the jury either. It's completely, it changes, as well as it's just not objectively plausible.
Remember, the burden of proof here lies with the prosecution. They must prove to jurors beyond a reasonable doubt that Nima Momeni murdered Bob Lee. The judge in this case has allowed jurors to ask witnesses questions after their testimony. No doubt these jurors will likely have a lot of questions for Nima Momeni. His testimony continues tomorrow with further cross-examination. Reporting live outside of the Hall of Justice in San Francisco, Melanie Woodrow, ABC 7 News.